Good morning. So I am here to update you on your levels for the week to see how we did. How did Tesla respect our Fibonacci levels of the 72 and 22? And I'm quite impressed. Go Tesla. So here we go with price starting off the gate in red. Pay attention to that. Now here is a little tip that I don't think a lot of people know is that this particular level, when we come out the gate, we need to pay attention to our guardrails. And we see that we're close to the very high level that we had set earlier this week. So let's just take a look back just so you can understand where you are. All right. So during this time, remember we got our levels from last week, right? So this is where we got our high from last week was Tuesday, the 28th. All right. So it came back up on Monday. That's where we opened up. But here's the thing institutional traders, banks, and whatnot, when price opens and brings it to the high, they're grabbing orders and then pulling it back down. So here they grabbed orders and then they started to pull it back down for the rest of the week. So there's some orders here, pulling it back down. There's some orders here, pulling it down. And then they had to come back and grab the rest of the orders. So here we are back up at the top at the level 1. So it almost got up to 1.22, right? So it actually did on Monday. So when it couldn't come back up to 1.22, it's like, okay, it's exhausted. It's tired. It's not being able to come back up here. So that means we're not buying anything. So when it comes up to the 1 and you see what they call it, tweezer tops, you see these two little guys right here with these two wicks, and it comes down. This is your sign that you may want to get in. Now, if you need to use a moving average to feel comfortable, do that too. So this is a 20 moving average. And so right when you see price come back down to this 20 moving average, you can go ahead and sell. Now, remember my rule. I do not like to get in before 940 because it's still shaking itself out. And I also want you to see what happens before 940. There's like wicks on both ends, right? So you got wicks here, you got wicks here, you got wicks here, you got wicks here. Anytime you have these wicks, which means price came down, then pushed back up, price came up and pushed back down. That's what a wick represents, a range. It's still trying to shake itself out and make itself clear on the direction that it needs to go. Now, some people are really bold and they're going to wait until there's no wick at all to enter, which would be right here, right? And so that is sometimes what we call like a master bar. This right here is also a master bar. There's no wick at the top. So that means this is pretty strong. And if you pay attention to just this level, because there's no wick. Look what would have happened. You would just say, I'm only going to enter in if I see a replication of selling below this bar. And look what we have. So these master bars, which means no wick at the top or no wick at the bottom, those are institutional levels as well. And so you need to but you have to wait for it to revisit. So I don't always go with the master bar, but moving averages can help you with this. Levels can help you with this. So it comes up to the top, easy. Enter in on the second bar because it's confirming. You don't want to just jump in because this could have easily jumped up higher. Okay. So you wait for confirmation. So it hits this wall. This tries to break through the wall. Could not. This comes down. You're entering and you have a nice, huge, huge level down. All right. So here we go. Boom. We're talking about a good almost $10 move just for the first leg. And then if we wanted to keep going, all right, oops, if we want to keep going, we can take this all the way down here. $24 smash from level to level. Are you serious? I'm serious. All right, so that was a good payday. I did get in TSLL, loved it. All right, so let's look at another. If you guys are scared of puts and you're like, oh, I don't like that, that's okay. Wait for a double confirmation here. You could have got in right here at this level. but it wouldn't have been so robust. But I mean, it's $6 is nothing to sneeze at either. It just never made it back up to this 50 level, and that's okay. But you could have also came down here $9. Easy work. All right, so now let's go over to our last day, which was Friday. And as you can see, all of this is coming down. So all of this selling pressure is happening during pre-market. And that means if all of this was coming down, this might be a short type of day, especially compared to yesterday's $24 move. So here we go. Remember, I do not like to get into the market until it's after 9:40. All right. So I'm 9:40 to 10 o'clock is my sweet spot to try to get in somewhere. So we come down here and at 9:40, this is our level. I see it push up. However, as you notice, it's inside of a level. It has not touched anything until 9:50. So when 9:50 happens, it bounces off of this 50% level. I know because of this, it's less likely to get a huge move. It's just because if the 50 is the level it's bouncing off of, it's really running out of steam. So we get in here after confirmation. Remember, it bounces, rejects, this confirms it, and this is the second confirmation, but you don't have a lot of time, right? And so if you miss this, that's fine because it comes back right in this area, right? So let me just put this here. So it confirms, it bounces off, it confirms that this bar eats up these two bars, and it comes back to this level. So you could have easily made this, is remember, it's not a huge move, but I mean, well, dang, it's $10. That's a pretty nice move. So don't always let the little, lines fool you. Because, to me, I'm like, oh, that doesn't look like a huge move, but it is. It's $10. So we get in here, we exit here. I did IWM that day, so I wasn't really Teslaing. I think maybe I got in like one position, but it came all the way up to this zero, which is really great. So we got into this territory and we can get out. Now, this, for those who didn't want to take this, they could have easily waited for price to cross under this moving average. So remember, our moving averages do help, but sometimes moving averages lag. And that's why the levels are important, because you gained so much more right here instead of waiting on this candle to complete right here, right? So just to keep that in perspective, this confirming from this level to this level gained you $4, right? And so if you got in after the moving average, you literally would have only had $6 from here to here versus $10. So it's up to you. Remember, the more contracts you place, it doesn't really matter, right? You still had a huge move. But if you're not placing really big contracts, that extra cushion can help. So you can enter here if we're going the opposite way, and then come all the way down to back to this 50 level. And so I hope you enjoyed this week of levels for this past week, and I will do a fresh video with the new levels for going forward. I hope you did a great job this week. I mean, if you stick to the levels, you can get paid. If not, well, you know what? Try it again the next day. And I thank you for tapping in. This is a Trading Goddess. Love you. Keep your head on a swivel. Talk to you later. Bye.